Xabi Alonso is soon becoming the next big thing in European football. He's got a mixture of sort of like the gegenpress of Jurgen Klopp, the positional play and the structure of Pep Guardiola, and a little bit of relationism in there with Fernando Deniz's Fluminense. In today's video, we're going to be breaking down this tactic, putting it into FM24 and showing you how it works. All right, guys, let's get into it. Smash a like on today's video. Let me know down in the comments very quickly as well which tactical replication you would like to see next week on the channel. Let's go. Looking at it, it is a 3-4-3 or a 3-4-2-1, but I've had more success with something a little bit like this, and I'll talk you through it exactly why. Now, Patreons, you will have access to both tactic downloads right now, so go check out the Patreon, get yourself the tactic. Everyone else, check out the link if you want to support the channel for £3 a month. That would be absolutely wonderful. The car broke down and I cracked a tooth in a matter of 48 hours, so any support would be absolutely amazing right now. Right, and I'll tell you the reasons for the little changes. So, on the face of it, you think they've got two players in wider areas in Hoffman and Wirtz. They've got two wing-backs, but it's the role of Frimpong in particular that we wanted to recreate. And generally, a lot of the time, Leverkusen look like this in build-up, so like a 4-2-3-1, with Hoffman coming inside and Frimpong often being a lot higher. And they build up with sort of like a lopsided 4-2-3-1, with Grimaldo on this left-hand side, forming a back three, and then the wide centre-back. Generally, it has been Kusuno, but he is away on international duty at the moment. But yeah, it would be generally Kusuno who would slot in there and act as a bit of a right-back. So, to create all that in possession and to get the movements, in particular to get the most out of this boy here, as you can see, he's had a tremendous start to the season. Let's get his season stats up there, look. 21 appearances, 4 goals and 10 assists. So we need to get the most out of him. We've got quite a structured double pivot. They don't venture too far forward. They often back up play. Really good positions in terms of rest defence. It's normally Palacios as the ball-winning midfielder. And then they've also got Xhaka in there playing exceptionally well as a deep line playmaker. So this shape here is what I've been using. As you can see, we're 5th place in the league. Halfway through the season, we're picking up nicely. A little bit of a slow start. Struggled with the XG, but over the last few weeks, we've just managed to turn it round. We're 3rd in terms of average possession, 58% possession. We've now dropped, because we've had a couple of good performances, 4-2 and a 5-2. Our XG is now 0.45. That was as low as -7. So we were really underperforming. As you can see, we're still quite low down in terms of expected goals and overperformance. So that's one of the reasons why it's cost us a little bit. The run has been on and off. We've rotated in the cup as well, the Europa League, to focus on the league. Like here, we got Grimaldo sent off after 26 minutes, and it's kind of the only blip over the last few weeks. We're in decent form, scoring more goals now, as you can see. Defensively being pretty solid as well. Right, so let's break it down. Sweeper, keeping on support. No player instruction for him. That is quite basic. He does pass, he does build. I think they conceded a goal actually against Hoffenheim, where it was a pass that he was trying to put into sort of like this area here, like the start of the middle third to one of the holding midfielders. It got cut out, but he's trying to play out from the back. So we've got sweeper, keeper on support. Now we've got Kusuno as a wide centre-back on support. We said we were going to try and build with this sort of like 4-2-3-1. And we want him coming round as a right-back. He often gets into these areas. And also the thought process with that is, with Frimpong there, if he moves into these areas, that will naturally then push Frimpong a little bit higher up in possession, get really high, really wide. Into the middle, we've got Jonathan Tah, central defender on cover, just in there to hold his line, sweep up. He's got good physicals, asking nothing too much from him. And then moving over to the left side, we've got Tadzobo, fantastic young defender. We've got him wide centre-back on defend, not as further forward. I don't really need him pushing into these areas, but what I want him to do is create triangles with Grimaldo and Palacios, and then even a diamond with Florian Wirtz on that left-hand side. So we've got him involved a little bit with the wide centre-back on defend. Moving over to the double pivot, Granit Xhaka, deep line playmaker on defend, and Palacios, ball-winning midfielder on support. Getting into these areas, but basically trying to be a little bit of a support behind the ball. I don't really necessarily having them too far forward, especially in the final third. Depending on what Kusuno's do as well, we want a little bit of a structure with either a 3-2 or a 2-2. Grimaldo on the left-hand side has been absolutely tremendous. He's not as adventurous as Frimpong, but his numbers have been insane. 4 goals and 7 assists. Absolutely tremendous. He's actually really good in real life at the moment. He's scoring absolute beauties. He scored one yesterday as well. against Union Berlin. Go check it out. Picking the ball up from Florian Wirtz, driving in and scoring an absolute belter. Frimpong on the right-hand side, a winger on attack, no player instructions. We want him to be high and as aggressive. Now, people will say, what is going to happen with his positioning? Will he come and cover in the right-back area? And the answer is yes. So we're going to use the 2D for this, just so you could see the shape a little bit better. So there he is. We're in possession of the ball. And then there's a loss. Now we're out of possession. Now we've got a nice little bit of cover. We've got a 3v1 in here. So it's not the be-all and end-all that he needs to get back in. I think if the ball does go out there, Kusunu's in a decent... Sorry, Stanic, but it would be Kusunu if we're at full strength. Would be in a decent position to get across. And as you can see, as the play's just developing, he's just starting to sit in. Look where he is now. A really good position. Now, you'd probably call that a wing-back. You know, Grimaldo's on this side. Yes, they've got that little bit of an overload in here, but once again, Stanic, we've got cover in here. Stanic can go out there if need be. The only thing that we get from him is that he doesn't go all the way back in. And it's up to Stanic to cover. He's kind of tracking this. Now, what you could do as a little bit of a change, and my recommendation might be, in this scenario here, you could do a man marking job. When you see it happening in the game, and you've got a bit of an overload on this left-hand side, my idea would be to ask him to man-mark him, and he would naturally then come in to make that 5. Now, I've not done it. We've taken a risk because we're dominating the game. I think in some of the other big games, we may look at changing that because he's going to have more defensive duties to do. The only thing that I don't want is when the complete wing-back on attack, yes, it gets forward in possession, but it just doesn't get as high. And Frimpong is so aggressive, getting into these areas for cutbacks. We don't get that as much with the complete wing-back. The attacking idea with Frimpong is that he's aggressive and higher up the pitch to make that 4-2-3 or 4-2-3-1 in possession. We don't get that in build-up if he plays as a complete wing-back. Okay, moving to the 210s. Now, I started Wirtz in here because they do kind of play narrow, but because I've been using the AP in my Malaga save on the left, slowly becoming my favourite position in FM24 so far, we've decided to keep him on this left-hand side, but with the player instruction of sit narrow. So he comes in there, gets in between fullbacks and centre halves, allows Grimaldo then to get round the left-hand side. Hoffman's an interesting one. He kind of works in these areas and then goes out wide at times to allow Frimpong to come in. He darts into the box, scores a couple of really good goals as well that we'll see in a minute. We've got him with run wide with the ball and move into channels, just so that he moves out and once again combines with Frimpong, maybe Kusunu, and the central striker. And then up front, it's Boniface. We've also got Treq Icon, who is very good. They've got a superb sort of like 13 or 14 players, Leipzig. I think they really need to strengthen beyond that, but they've got players, as I said, like Schick, Teller, Andrich to come in, Stanisic. They've also got the Czech Republic player, is it Holzek, to come in as well. And they've also got Hinsape. There he is. He's a decent player, can play in a couple of positions as well. We've gone with Boniface, though. Complete forward on attack. Loves to drop in, holds up the ball really well, drops in and then gives it, but then he also stretches the play as well. Really like that role when you've got someone of the kind of the physical capabilities of Boniface and has started to find the back of the net. 10 goals from 8 XG, so he's doing pretty well and loves to get in these areas for little tap-ins, headers, darting to the near post. Really good. Right, positive mentality for the team instructions. Shorter passing, fairly wide, attacking width, higher tempo, run at the defence because we want to create those dribbles. You know, we've got players like Wirtz, Hoffman, Grimaldo, Teller, Frimpong. We want to drive at the defence as much as possible. And we've got more expressive, just so we see the, you know, at times Palacios will move in. Xhaka is obviously really creative. We want these guys, especially the front four, to really express themselves. And Grimaldo as well, with that complete wing-back role. In transition, we want a counter-press. We've been so good at the counter-press, and I'll show you a couple of clips with that in a minute. Counter-attacking as well, you know, with the explosiveness of Hoffman and Boniface getting in behind. Treq Icon works channels really well. Frimpong obviously on that right-hand side, and Wirtz, we want a counter-attack. They score goals from all over the pitch at the moment. Short kicks as well. We're distributing to the centre halves whenever we can. Out of possession, high line, high press, And there you go. And that is the tactic. I said, check out the links down in the description to that. The other variation for everyone else as well, the general variation, is exactly the same in terms of team instructions, with just Hoffman moved out wide to be a Rom Deuter and Frimpong just dropping back as a complete wing-back on attack. So if you want a little bit more structure off the ball, that right back, what we might do in games as well, a good idea would actually to move Frimpong back there occasionally, just so then he tracks the runner of that attacking left midfielder a little bit better for you. Now, one thing Bayer Leverkusen do really, really well is this little wide overload that they create with the right centre-half in Kasuna or the left centre-half, one of the holding midfield players, the wide player, and then one of the 10s. And this is what we create. So this is the wide centre-back here, and because he's on support, he'll obviously get involved a little bit more. And as you can see right now, we've kind of got a 4v2 or a 4v3. You know, Frimpong's got a lot of room to work in. Hoffman then just pops it off. And then what they do is they try and find a quick switch and they move the ball out. You know, that ball could have probably gone out to Grimaldo if I was really fussy. Wirtz is coming in, getting involved, and they keep possession of the ball really, really well. But it's those wide overloads that we're looking at creating. Once again, we're getting in here. We're trying to form. It doesn't look like a diamond at the moment, but we've got those 4 versus 3 in there. That's what you would consider probably a diamond right there, right now. And we're playing round. And then we're off. And Wirtz now cuts in. And really good. And then he's try and shift it. We lose possession, but then we try and get the ball, then come out of it and try and shift it over to either a Grimaldo or a Frimpong to create that 1v1 on the other side. And this is where we score. Hoffman's going to be the goal scorer. So as you can see, he's sitting quite narrow. Look at the starting position of Frimpong as well. Really high. And then we just start playing through the thirds. We work it well around their initial press. Midfielders are now having to come out. And once again, we're trying to get that wide in. Hoffman lays a lovely layoff to Boniface, and he's in again. We play really nicely. Switch to play out to this left-hand side. Because Wirtz is playing as an AP out wide, but asking him to sit narrow, he always sucks in the right back. And then it just makes sure with players that are playing in these sort of like attacking right midfield areas, they've got to do a lot of chasing. And Grimaldo is so good in delivery, gets a lovely ball, and there is Hoffman pretty much acting as a central striker to nod in. And then once again, you know, most teams at the moment are trying to defend really narrow blocks. So to solve that, Bayer Leverkusen are tempting players out of that narrow block by overloading the wide area. So as you can see, we've picked up the ball. I think there was a shot on goal. We've picked up the ball here. Frimpong, Palacios, and Hoffman making a big diamond, as you can see. And then they're just going to play. Hoffman's going to be the goal scorer again. And then we've worked the ball. We suck players in. Look, we've now got on. If we cut the pitch in half right now, as you can see, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players on this half, and only 3 on the other. So what we do is then Wirtz comes in, and we've managed to switch to play, and then we work it back across again. Look at Frimpong. Look, we've got our 2, 3, 5. Often can be a 3, 2, 5 as well, depending on what the wide centre back is doing. There you can see we've got more of a 3-2-5 now. Look at Frimpong. We've got Hoffman and Wirtz sort of like working the 2 half spaces. Grimaldo out wide as well. And then it's just a little through ball from Hoffman coming from out to in from Frimpong. Really nice goal. Go and plug it in. Go and use it. Go and play the new meta in terms of football tactics. Really enjoyable. We would probably get Champions League football. It's just taken a while to get it going, but I'm really happy with how it's working in the game. That AP on attack or support, out wide, sit narrower, adventurous fullback going round. You'll absolutely love it. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Take care. See you later.